Hello, friends. It's me, host Eric, and I'm live streaming my ass off. Today's live stream topic is lovers when they fight, the fighting thereof. Why? Well, as you can probably guess, it's true. I am currently fighting with Kimberly. Yeah. And I think the takeaway from this experience for me in general is it's about boundaries, you know? You have to sometimes spend a lot of time considering which boundaries are legitimate, which boundaries are illegitimate, which things are just you trying to be a dick or trying to be mad, and which things are legitimate complaints and stuff. It's tough because in any relationship, people's feelings get hurt or whatever, and people get mad at each other and blame each other for shit. Now, normally, this is a bad state of affairs that hopefully neither party wants to spend a lot of time blaming the other. Problem is, sometimes one party wrongs the other, and it's pretty cut and dry. And, in those instances, you have to have both parties being honest. That's the number one thing. People who are honest will, in relatively short order, be able to say, okay, I'm responsible for this one. This is my bad. And here's why. And that's probably the most important part. If you're going to have a successful relationship, be ready to say, I am sorry, I was wrong, and here's why. If you can't say those words, then you won't ever be able to have a successful relationship. Because the number one key to a successful relationship between any two people is the capacity of both parties to be honest when they are wrong. It's one of humanity's least developed and most important skills. So, all the time I encounter people who cling to wrongnesses for ego reasons. And they don't understand that it doesn't help them. It always hurts them. You will almost never find me clinging to wrongnesses. If I get in a fight with somebody and it turns out I'm a responsible one, it's my bad, you will hear me explain that to you. In no uncertain terms. I will explain why it was my bad. And it will be convincing. So, obviously in every relationship, individuals are imperfect. They make mistakes. And so, the critical thing to note is what kind of mistake it is. Is it a wrongdoing, or is it a social gaffe? If it is a social gaffe, how big of a social gaffe is it? If it's just somebody didn't respond exactly as one might ideally wish to something, or if, like in the situation I have, where the other party is manipulating Kimberly and her mother into ridiculousness. Then you have yourself, at that point, a sort of a moment of growth or a crossroads or something. It's easy to persist in the status quo But a lot of times, it's the wrong choice to persist in a status quo. Especially if you're talking about a status quo where a third party is doing you harm and doing me harm. Then, you know, we just have a choice often enough in life. And rarely is the right choice some sort of compromise. Almost always, one party is right, one party is wrong. Kim and I have had a very successful relationship thus far, in large part because most of the time we're fighting, I'm able to honestly take on a fair amount of responsibility for that fight, you know? Many of the fights we had in the past ended with me saying, I'm completely wrong, and here's why. And here's why you were completely right about that. And I'm sorry. They ended like that because I'm honest. I'm fair. This fight is a lot more challenging for us because it is entirely Kim's fault. And worse than that, it's her fault, and it's an attacking issue. Like, she attacked me and sided with somebody else against me. So, I mean, that's obviously a big problem. You can't do that. And Kim's having a hard time acknowledging and reconciling her moment of cringe with a larger reality that says, oh, my behavior here was totally unacceptable, you know? And she's not there yet, or she wasn't there yet. And last night she really fucked up again because, like, basically she wouldn't allow me to talk to her directly about this until after I talked to Nick. And after I talked to Nick, she wouldn't talk to me directly about it again. Still, she went right to sleep. So, I guess another important thing to remember is that time matters, right? It's not okay to think to yourself, well, eventually I'll come around on this. Because I'm not doing anything or thinking anything or going anywhere or doing anything until it gets fucking resolved. And I mean, this is good relationship advice. Do not allow your partner to let shit linger. You can't. Especially if you're an EHP with an ISFJ, they will just ignore shit and let it linger. You got a hammer. Use it. I mean, I was sort of moving along figuring she and I had everything resolved, that I wouldn't have to ever use the hammer. But I was wrong. You know, because people have habits. Like, Kimberly has a long-standing habit of non-objective self-criticism and of erring on the side of caution and stuff like that. You know, she's 46 years old like me. She's had decades of bad habits drilled into her. But she can't take that out on me. When she's in the wrong and then run away from it and pretend as though I'm not completely right and ignore me and not respond to what I'm saying. It's the worst thing a person can do to me. If you want to piss me off, do this. Attack me. Then, when I respond, ignore me. Continue attacking me. And then, when I finally get you cornered, run. Do that often enough, and I will hate you. So, that applies to Kim like anybody else. You can't do that. If you attack, stay here and fight. If you attack, stay here and fight. If you attack, stay here and fight. Otherwise, don't attack. I got a lot of mixed feelings about Alcoholics Anonymous, but one thing about it that is dead fucking right. You've got to take a thorough and fearless moral inventory of yourself, and when you are wrong, promptly admit it. It's that fucking simple. It's your duty as a moral agent. When somebody is totally wrong, and I'm totally right like this, delaying the fight does not make it less hot. It makes it hotter. Because she's shitting on me right now. She's sleeping. She sent me a text saying, "Come home right now," last night. Knowing that I'd interpreted it as she's ready to talk. She refused to talk to me. She made me talk to Nick. When I met her burden, I said, "Okay, fine, I'll talk to Nick first then." She still refused to talk to me. So, she's probably hopeful that she's going to get up this morning and I'll be in a better mood or something. I'm not in a mood. I have a problem on my hands that I'm trying to solve. And that problem is Kim's being unfair and dishonest with me. And she needs to stop. So, that's what happens when lovers fight. If you are in a relationship and you're having a fight with your significant other, step 1, determine who is at fault. Step 2, there's no step 2. One of the most evil and unacceptable things a person can do is to take a binary split in which two options are mutually exclusive and then pretend to claim some middle ground. It's one of the most evil things a person can do. Especially when attacking. If you attack somebody, you have a burden and a responsibility to follow through on that. To either win the attack or lose the attack and concede. I've had these sort of fights with people all the time on the internet. It's no big deal. I just end the fight by going like, this guy's a fucking retard, and don't think about it anymore. Because nobody else can hurt me with an attack, right? Basically, I'm invulnerable, except to somebody that I love very much. So, whether she's just sort of flailing around wildly and stabbing me by accident, or whether she's unaware that thing that she's poking me with is a knife, or whether she's unable to remember correctly her own behavior, or whether I don't know what it is, but I made it really clear from the start, this does not end in any way except her full unconditional surrender, genuine remorse and apology, and a full explanation as to why she was wrong. That's what she's going to have to provide me. Because otherwise, she's just being evil. And I won't tolerate it. Again, to anybody out there watching who likes to avoid conflict, you are making the situation worse if you are in the wrong. Anyhow, I'm here in room 1, TWFP1. Appear.in/TWFP1. You can see the link right there. And if you'd like to join me, I'll be live streaming until Kim wakes up, at which point I'll probably... Well, I got my fingers crossed, but I don't know. She's sinking and desperately clinging to the rock that's dragging her down. So whether or not she's ready to let that rock go is a question I will find out when she wakes up, I guess. Note: I will not allow her to run any further. She spent days attacking, then running and hiding. Attacking, then running and hiding. And not acceptable. I don't care if you're motherfucking Teresa. Hell no. Kim said to me on a number of occasions, Eric, look, I don't necessarily like it when you talk to other people like that, but I understand that sometimes you have to, but you can't talk to me like that. If you do that shit, I will talk to you like that. And I will hammer until you fix. This is a serious problem. I won't tolerate it. And it's not a problem that can be resolved by compromise. It's a problem that can be resolved by Kim being honest. This is one of the lessons shitloads of people have to learn. Everyone, pretty much. Almost nobody does. Whenever there's a dispute, about 80% of the time, compromise is the wrong choice. Not more than 80, maybe 70. It's something more like that, you know? 70% of the time, compromise is the wrong choice because one party is wrong and one party is right. About 30% of the time, it's a competing interests kind of mush-mash of things. But even then, it's almost always possible to parse it down to something narrow enough that we can determine who's right and who's wrong. And that allows us to make progress. Without one party taking on the mantle of wrongness, nothing ever gets fixed. Individual human beings are the only moral agents there are. And each individual human being must take responsibility for their own moral agency. The most important manifestation of moral agency is honesty in dispute. So, we don't really have problems as humans that aren't associated with disputes, except natural disasters and stuff, right? So, the managing of disputes is of critical importance. If you don't manage disputes well naturally, like Kim, then you're going to have a couple of situations happen. And ISFJs do not handle disputes well. Because, number one, they'll get pushed around and manipulated a lot with their FE. And number two, they're kind of blind to it. And number three, they develop habits of avoidance. And they don't develop habits of objective self-criticism because they're introverts, they're pleasant, they don't really want to fight, and they don't really have any... They don't seek out any conflicts, so they don't feel the need to objectively self-criticize their own opinions about things when they do have a conflict. And that means that basically it's a bad habit. It's a really, really bad habit. People get furious with me because I always have to be right, or I always have to win. What they really get furious about is the fact that I practice what I preach. When I'm wrong, I admit it. I concede the point. I give the other party their due. It's called justice, fairness, and decency. It drives people crazy because they really, really, really want to attack me on FE grounds. Like, you're just trying to win. You always have to be right. Except the truth is, I don't always have to be right. I don't always have to win. The reason I'm fighting so hard is because you're wrong, probably. And ignoring what I'm saying, not responding to what I'm saying, just keep saying the same things as though I were just moving my lips. No sound was coming out. Does it piss me off? Yeah, it fucking pisses me off. It's like, we're playing a game here, but it still matters. It's like, I know it's just a basketball game, but when you foul me, you push my head into the pole. And therefore, I'm going to take some fucking free throws, and you're going to get a technical foul, and you better go sit down. And they go, we're not even playing basketball. Yes, you are, bitch. When you attack me, that means you're playing basketball. People do this all the time. They come running at me with a sword. They go, ah! And I go, chink, 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 chink. And then I go, okay, now it's my turn. And they go, I'm not fighting. I'm running away now. When I'm president, do you think I'm going to allow other world leaders to get away with bullshit? You think I'm going to have Putin's fucking bullshit words and go, oh yeah, Putin matters? No, I'm going to fucking shame the living shit out of his wrongness. I'm going to give hilarious profanity-laden speeches about what a moral reprobate that guy is. Why? Same rules apply. Same fucking rules. To everyone, everywhere, always. If you are wrong, promptly admit it. It's the least you can do as a human being. The bare fucking minimum. So I'm not sure about other people's relationships, but for me, in my relationships across the board, and I'm talking about romantic or otherwise, in my relationships, one thing that happens a lot, or needs to be dealt with or considered or something, is that Um, there's a choice that you have to make, right? It's like, am I going to care or am I going to not care? So, for example, if if I didn't really care, I just feel like whatever, I don't care. I move on. But that would be doing a disservice to the relationship. It doesn't help anybody in any relationship ever to allow wrongness to fester and spread. And that's exactly what happens when one party's wrong and is not able or willing or forced to take full accountability of it. When that happens, I mean, that's why the world's fucked up. Is because people are not compelled by reality, by people of strong will, to acknowledge it, work on it. You know, it's like I've often said, the right relationship, you don't try to fix the other person. And that's true. But also, the right relationship, you don't allow the partner to engage in evil behaviors that are habitual. And I won't allow Kim to engage in habitual evil behaviors. She's going to have to change those habits. And, I mean, it's not a big deal because it's not like she's doing this often, right? This is the first conflict we've had where she has to be a big girl, put on her big girl pants, and take full accountability of shit, you know? Prior to this. That sounds like Champagne Poppy to me.
Yeah.
Is it
How are you?
is it Kaizo?
Yeah, this is Kaiser.
Cool.
The nefarious INFP.
Yeah. It's you for sure. I'm currently talking about relationship fighting, being in a fight with Kim, and how to manage your relationships and what your responsibility as a human being is when you've engaged in bad behavior, especially in a romantic relationship. There's a responsibility to be accountable for that, to admit when you are wrong. And
Yeah.
my central point is, I have good habits. I've been able to engage in objective self-criticism almost my whole life, and
Yeah.
at some points it's actually been a serious problem because I'm so objectively self-critical. I so default to what did I do wrong that sometimes in the past I've not been fair to myself, you know. But in this instance, I'm kind of beyond that now. I'm pretty clear about the calculus on any given dispute. So, as I
Yeah.
was saying, most of my fights previously with Kimberly, they almost all ended with me going, okay, so there was a little bit of meow here, but mostly it was my fault, and here's why I was wrong, and I am sorry. And give her a full accounting of things. Because it's what she's due. If we had a dispute and we've had conflict, and it turns out after thinking about it, or after she's said some things and pointed some things out that I was in the wrong, she will get that full accounting from me 100% of the time.
Hmm. It's interesting. Um, s- so, how are you dealing with being less objective? I
Well,
suppose. Yeah.
uh, the the way I'm dealing with it right now is probably not very effective. It's with a lot of anger. But and you know, anger is intermittently useful and sometimes counter useful. But one thing that anger does allow is it allows the other person to see that you're taking something very seriously. That you're not. I mean, I guess if for her for when I get really serious, I stop being angry. If I'm angry, that means I still expect good things from you. I expect better, you know? If I'm angry, I expect better from you. If I'm not angry anymore, we got a real problem. That means I don't expect any better from you.
That's interesting because I mean, I found for my most of my relationships, I tend to be the more understanding one in the sense that I understand that it's my nature to poke sometimes and maybe take escalate situations and not be sensitive about certain things. But then, I mean, I have a similar experience for me in the sense that I have this tendency to overanalyze everything and self-criticize to the point whereby you just want to resolve the situation instead of actually making the other person acknowledge their part in it, because you kind of feel like if you end up in an argument, you can't technically lose, but then that's you kind of lose the main essence of the whole thing, which is, I suppose, relating. So it's
But see, I can lose plenty of arguments. Because I don't use argumentation like that. In other words, I don't abuse my debate abilities. I don't make unfair arguments. The reason I don't is because, or I might, but I have to not care about you at all, or hate you or something, or just think you're an annoyance. Like, for example, I made an unfair argument against the secretary at Cambridge once to basically win a battle for Kim, because this bitch was trying to pull some FE shit on Kim, one of my partner's secretaries. And so I made an unfair argument against her. I strawmanned her in text to win the argument for Kim. That's fine. I don't mind doing that in that context. But I was well aware I was strawmanning her, and I wouldn't do it to anybody I care about. I don't use specious argumentation like that. It's not fair. I'm eminently fair, and I'm aware of the fact that I have a debate advantages, that I could use debate tricks to win arguments or something. But I don't want to win arguments like that, because I don't want to win arguments. I want to determine who's right and who's wrong.
But isn't relationships inherently unstable in the sense that even if you have a deal, you're going to have the moments whereby energy has to be expelled. So it will cause some moments of, I suppose, instability.
But yeah, but the thing is, the points of dispute in my relationship thus far with Kimberly, once resolved, have stayed resolved. So in other words, it's not like we fight it, nothing gets solved, and then we fight it again, nothing gets solved. It's not like that, which is how bad relationships are. We are not fighting about the same things we used to fight about. In fact, we're not fighting in general at all, except Kim fucked up badly and clung, like I said, she's sinking fast and clinging desperately to the boulder that's dragging her to the bottom of the ocean. She needs to let it go. She needs to step up to the plate and take a full accounting of herself and acknowledge to herself what she did was wrong, and acknowledge to me that what she did was wrong, and explain to me why. That's the thing. After like a full day of arguing with her, I said, Kimberly, what is my point? What are my points? She couldn't tell me one of them. It's like she hadn't been listening at all.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Then I think the only way to do it is just to, I suppose, yeah, just to give it time, because to let her account for it, I suppose.
That's a bad approach. Giving it time is a bad approach. Everybody says, like, you know, okay, walk away, cool down, you guys are emotional, blah, blah, blah. No. Like I said, do not attack me unless you are willing to stand there and resolve the shit and fight it out to the end. I do not want to leave this encounter mad. It needs to resolve now. Now, if you do something like make it persist all Saturday night, all Sunday night, not talk to me, Monday morning I'm still sitting out here fucking talking and she's still sleeping, and still she hasn't stepped up to the plate and resolved anything, still she's avoidant, still she's ignoring me, then you have created a new problem. The initial problem that she had, attacking me and misattributing responsibility onto me when it's actually this bitch that this third party is a problem. That's easily enough forgiven and let go as long as she can acknowledge it. I mean, it's not a big deal, right? But this is a big deal. This making me stay in a state of anger and a need to resolve a disequilibrium for days on end. That's a serious fucking problem. Then you're fucking with my spiritual well-being for far too long. Time does matter. You stand here, you resolve it now.
But then, if she's not as confrontational as you, maybe she acknowledges what she's done, but then she doesn't want to accept it because it will make her feel bad. Because if
she needs to feel bad, she needs to feel bad.
Yeah.
I feel bad when I wrong her. She should feel bad when she wrongs me. It's called the natural consequences of doing something fucked up.
Yeah. But still, I mean, obviously, Kimberly is different from most women that you've encountered. But isn't so that there's a difference between men and women in that some women don't like to take personal responsibility as easily.
I refuse to dismiss or diminish her gender in that fashion, or reduce her to a member of a group in that fashion. She is a capable human being and a moral agent. This is not a systemic problem because she is very normally not she doesn't wrong me, right? Normally she doesn't wrong me at all, so it's not like a problem normally. But in this instance, she did, and now we have the big problem, which is she doesn't know how to deal with that. She's never been asked to actually be fair in a relationship.
Yeah.
She's probably been in relationships where they just avoid talking about shit. Well, not gonna happen with me. You have to step up to the plate and be a big girl.
I see what you mean. But I suppose then that's what she needs. She needs a guiding hand because she hasn't been in too many good relationships whereby people are fair to her. So she's always had to kind of defend herself, and now it's like reverse back to an old habit without really understanding it. Yeah.
Right, and she's also judging me based on my tone rather than what I'm saying. My tone keeps getting more and more angry because, of course, she's not listening to me. She's listening to my tone. And I understand and agree that my tone can be quite awful. And I don't blame somebody for not liking my tone. But that doesn't excuse you from a responsibility to listen to the words that I speak and understand what they mean.
Yeah.
And I'm angry for a good reason. It's not like I'm angry because she left the milk out or something. She attacked me, she sided with the enemy, and she spent 2 days running from that fact.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, that makes perfect sense. I think in that situation then, it's difficult because I suppose you can't, you wish that she should accept in this case what's happened and have part in it and apologize properly and ask for forgiveness. And at the same time, you're probably thinking, well, she's the best thing that's happened to you for a long time. Is it also rational then for you to be mad and potentially escalate a situation to make it
yes,
worse?
Yes, absolutely, because there's no utilitarian calculus in a relationship. She may be the best thing that's ever happened to me. She may be a person with whom I am deeply and infinitely in love with. She may be my soulmate, my duo, all that stuff. But I cannot live with myself and look myself in the mirror if I do not allow, if I do allow her to cross so significant a boundary and take no accountability for it, then she's not the person I thought she was. And besides that, even if she is the person I thought she was, I won't stop being mad until this is resolved. That's no longer a good thing in my life. That's a bad thing. I literally will not stop being angry at Kimberly until she takes full accountability on this, gives me an honest and earnest apology, explains to me why she was wrong, and explains to me why it was wrong to make me wait this long for her to admit that. Until that happens, I mean, I'm not in a relationship. I'm in limbo. I'm waiting for her to do her duty as a moral agent.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely understand that. It's like you're stuck between being a purist in the sense that you want there to be like truth in the relationship. You know, someone's done something, acknowledge it, and at the same time, she is the best thing that's happened to you.
Okay, but
So,
see, her
but then, yeah,
her global status. She has a
but
global status of that good stuff, right? But that good stuff,
yeah,
global status, is contingent on moment to moment continuing to be good. Moment to moment will be shit until I get what I need. And so at that point, the global
yeah.
status starts to change because every moment is shit. If every moment of my life is
Well, this
shit, then it's not a good relationship. And it will be shit
that's true.
until she fucking steps up to the plate and takes full accountability.
It could be the shit test then. You know, she could be testing you to see how you react if you're going to let her scenario.
Her motivations are irrelevant. Her motivations are irrelevant because her behavior was bad, and her bad behavior persists for as long as she fails to take accountability for it. So her motivations are irrelevant. I don't care how honestly and earnestly she's trying to do right or whatever. I can't make any decisions on that. The only thing I have to go on is what she actually says, what she actually does. And until we resolve this injustice, then she continues to shit on me every second that she doesn't resolve it. And I can't, I cannot sit here and let her continue to shit on me without being mad about it. So,
And she knows what you're looking for, or is this what you expect her?
I mean, I don't know because she's been running away and not talking to me about shit. I can't tell. Because when she does start talking to me and she starts once again trying to tell me lies or avoid simple facts, then my tone gets angry again. And she's like, I don't like the way you're talking to me. Look, you can't run up to somebody, stab them, and then get upset when they yell at you.
Yeah. I think this is, but I'll say this is an ENTP mistake, though. I'm not saying it's a mistake on your part exactly, but it's that we're so focused on truth and we kind of make the whole situation seem irrelevant. So the environmental stimulation and all that kind of stuff, it might make them feel a bit. So what she really wants is for you to. She wants to apologize, but she wants to apologize in a so-called safe environment where she doesn't feel like she's going to have her head chewed off. So she wants you to be nice to her, then she'll apologize, kind of thing. It's
right. Well, but that would be unjust. You see, for me to forgive first before she's accountable, that's backwards. She takes responsibility, then I forgive. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And it's not going to work any other way than that. The reason my tone keeps getting bad is because every time I start talking to her about it, I realize she's still trying to cling to a middle ground. She's still trying to say, well, let's establish a compromise position where you were wrong and I was wrong, and blah, blah, blah. But when I go down the list of actual points, like, but this, she agrees with them all, but she just refuses to. I don't know. I'm not sure what's wrong with her. I think that it's just, this is a moment where she's having to pass a kidney stone, so to speak. You know, it's a kidney stone of habit. She's not accustomed to dealing with someone who's actually fair. She's accustomed to dealing with people who, when their tone gets bad, they're being unfair to her and they're trying to push her around, blah, 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 blah. But that's not the case in this instance.
It's because I still don't feel like I am totally wrong.
Oh, are you ready to talk to me directly?
No, I'm not.
I'm still not going to talk to me.
No, because I do not feel like I am completely wrong. You tell me that during that situation you evaluated something, and I'm telling you no, I evaluated something different than that. So keep spouting off.
Okay, Kimberly, social mistakes, we agreed on that, remember? I'm not disputing that. What I've asked you for days now to do is for you to stop looking at my actions.
I'm tired of being in a debate. I'm tired of dealing with your debate talk.
I have asked.
I'm not your debate partner. I am your love partner.
Not is not. She continues to think that she wants to make this about something other than her wronging me and needing to apologize. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's up now, so I'm going to go, and I'm going to go try to talk to her. You can see what I got to deal with there, right? I've already acknowledged that I made a social mistake, that I wasn't as smooth as I should have been, that I gave them a little bit of ammunition to use against me. But she just ignores that fact.
Well, I think what she needs now is escalate your FE above your TI. I think she wants you to.
That would be persisting in an injustice that I will not persist in. This is not about us cooling down and agreeing to compromise. It's about her acknowledging her wrongness 100%. I've acknowledged my wrongness in the situation 100%. I've told her exactly what I did that was wrong. I've gone over it multiple times with her.
Okay, so you want to basically just sit down and say, well, okay, I agree with you here. However, here I don't agree, and this is why, and I'm sorry for my part in it. I hope that you want,
I've already explained to her exactly what I did that was wrong, why it was wrong, and how it was a mistake, and I wish I had been more successful in executing my FE. I've explained to her that after I made the mistake, I did an excellent job of sweeping up, and it was ignored by these people because they are manipulating Kim and her mom. You can tell that this woman is manipulating Kim and her mom because look at this shitstorm that she caused. Among other reasons.
I think that's the thing. I think it's an FI situation where she feels that I don't know. I think she. How can I say this? I don't think it's a matter of right or wrong in the case. I think she's in her feelings, and
well, then she needs to get the fuck out of them. Then she needs to get the fuck out of them. I'm going in there and bringing the hammer, and she is gonna fucking listen. Thank you, live stream people, for watching, and I'll talk to you later. I gotta go continue this battle.